This is my number 5 of the top 10 changes I want to see in Disney Infinity 3.0 in the toy box. So my number 5 I've titled down here, wherever it is, Free Roam Camera. And that's an example, but really what I'm saying is I just like to see more camera options. But let's specifically go into the free roam camera, what I mean by that. Well, basically what I would like is a camera that you can enter into first person mode, so to speak. We're not talking first person shooter, that's a whole nother topic, but that would be a cool camera as well, to be able to lock in a camera to be the eyes of the player that it's connected to. That's a whole other thing. But basically it's all about just placement of a camera, so that you can go into, let's call it helicopter mode, and actually control the camera around and get it in exactly the right spot that you want it. Currently, when you want to place a camera, you have to place the camera, rig up a switch or whatever to be able to, test it out. And you step on the switch and you see the camera angle, you're like, no, that's not quite right. Step off the switch, slightly move the camera. That's so painful. Well, that's a whole other thing. Can we have a switch on the back of the camera that we can just walk up to it and turn it on or off to determine whether it's in the right place? That's side topic. Anyway, but yeah, so the idea is you can walk up to a camera, you can go enter first person, you're moving the camera around, but as you're moving, you're seeing from the perspective of what the camera's actually seeing, so you can place it with absolute precision of where you want to put it. That's what I mean by a free roam camera. To take it to another level above that, it would be awesome if you could basically enter camera movement into a record mode. So you hit start record, then fly around in this helicopter mode, and effectively then hit stop. And then you can basically play that animation that you've just recorded back. You know what I mean? So it's like you can create dolly movements or any of those sorts of things. Again, to create bring a bit more life rather than just static still cameras into our cutscenes. Another way we could do that is by, say, defining a start position and an end position of a camera and let it tween, what's called tweening, where it calculates the steps between that. When you say, okay, I want you to go from this position to this position in this amount of time, and it will determine what steps it needs to take to do that. And you can determine whether you wanted to do it in a linear line, whether you want it to arc, maybe you can control that arc. I think ultimately camera control is what needs to be improved here. The other way you can go with that thing is define a path. So maybe, I've mentioned this before, maybe you build a rail system where you want the camera to go. You can then attach a camera to the rail and say follow this rail, and maybe when that camera is actually connected to the rail will automatically enter a mode where it disappears, so you no longer see the rail. It's hidden alongside with the camera. Again, I mean, it's countless the amount of advantages that a free roam camera like this would give you, but ultimately it's all about just simplifying the placement of these cameras. And I think every camera should be able to enter into this free look first person view to make it a simpler process. Per examples, like, again, everything's trial and error. So when you put the top down camera down, why can't it enter into a mode where you're seeing what the camera sees? So you're pushing up as you're increasing the distance, you're getting an exact representation of how high you want that bird's eye view. There's not too much more to say on that. I think that's obviously something we would love to see in the future in the toy box. So perhaps let me know in the comments what other types of cameras you think you would like to be able to see. Would you like to be able to see the ability to change the lens type on a camera, so you can alter how much depth of field you want in it? Do you want to see a fisheye option? All these sorts of things you could do when you sort of apply normal real world camera logic to this thing, Do you want the ability to be able to set the action of a camera to be in slow motion or fast forward? All these really cool things. Let me know what you think in the comments about cameras in 3.0 and what types of new ones you'd like to see. And we will discuss those in a future episode of the Inside Infinity podcast.